We learn all the time. From the time we take our first breath to the time we take our last, learning never stops. Learning informs our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, and ultimately decides our destiny. In spite of its enormous significance, formal education pays very little attention to teaching the art of learning. Welcome to GAMTpedia. My name is Dr. Karthik, and today we're going to learn about the GAMT learning framework. This quote by Alvin Toffler in his famous book Future Shock is exceptional. Tomorrow's illiterate will not be the man who can't read, he will be the man who has not learned how to learn. Learning falls under a very broad spectrum. On one end of the spectrum, we have what is called superficial learning, where we focus on memorization, focus on short-term goals, short-term focus, limited application, and ultimately short retention. And then at the other extreme, we have something called deep learning, where we apply principles of critical thinking, we make conceptual connections across different ideas, and we apply the knowledge learned, and eventually it leads to longer retention. The aim is to be in the deep learning zone all the time. Deep learning is difficult. It takes time, it takes effort. But when you think about it, with the amount of information that we have in our hand from the internet and the AI tools that we have at our disposal at the moment for free, the deep learning should be much more easier than ever before. But why aren't many people doing it? And the answer lies in the absence of framework. What we don't have currently is we don't have a framework to apply the principles of deep learning, combine them with the AI tools that we have to facilitate deep learning every time you learn a topic. And that's what we are here to fix. Educators have been thinking about learning. And there are different types of classifications of learning that has been proposed. One of the most famous ones is called Bloom's Taxonomy. Bloom's Taxonomy classifies learning into multiple zones or multiple levels. It starts from basic remembering, goes up to understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluation, and creation. It's hierarchical in nature, which means the higher you go, the more complex the learning task becomes. And you cannot go to one level without completing the other level. And the other limitation of the Bloom taxonomy is that it's very difficult to apply in day-to-day practice. So when a learner sits to learn a topic, how is he going to apply these principles on a day-to-day basis? It's very challenging. And also, these taxonomies are focused on educators. They're not focused on learners. There are a lot of other taxonomies. This is not the only taxonomy. We have solo taxonomy, fixed taxonomy, and Hosanna taxonomy, and modified Bloom taxonomy. They all have similar issues. So what we have is what is called GAMT learning framework. GAMT stands for Glyph Assisted Memory Technique. If you haven't seen the earlier video, the first video, you should probably have a look at that. That gives you an overview of what the GAMT technique is about. So GAMT-based learning is based on 3 pillars. Generating or creating GAMT is the first pillar. GAMT learning framework, which we're discussing today, is the second one. GAMT recall strategy is the third one. The GAMT learning framework focuses on the learners as opposed to educators. It integrates the principles of deep learning. It classifies learning into learning zones, and it's non-hierarchical. So the learners can jump from one zone to the other zone. They don't have to complete one zone before they go to the next zone. And the biggest benefit of this GAMT learning framework is that it can be effortlessly applied to day-to-day learning. The effort application in day-to-day learning is one of the biggest benefits of the GAMT learning framework. Let's jump into it. This is the GAMT learning framework. So we have a tree with roots, and you have small shrubs going on the basement of the tree. So you have a tree, big root, and the tree has a kind of hole in the middle, a bit of small legs of birds, and then you have the leaves coming up here, small green leaves are coming in the middle, and then you have the soil on either sides, and then you have small plants coming on either sides with the roots for these small plants. That's it. And then the name of the tree is GAMT. So that's the GAMT learning framework. So if you can remember this, you've actually captured all the important concepts that you need to know about the GAMT learning framework.